The Judgment Day. The observation deck of the Grand Assembly Station stretched across 3 kilometers of transparent alloy. Commander James Chin stood alone in the center, watching as alien vessels arrived from every corner of the known galaxy. Each ship represented a civilization older than human recorded history. Each carried delegates who would decide humanity's fate. Chin adjusted his formal uniform one last time. The dark blue fabric bore the insignia of United Earth, a symbol that might become meaningless in a few hours. Behind him, the empty gallery would soon fill with observers, journalists, and those who wanted to witness this historic moment firsthand. The assembly hall itself was a marvel of engineering. Built by the architects 3,000 years ago, it could accommodate representatives from 900 different species. The atmosphere adjusted automatically for each delegate's biology. Gravity varied by section. Some areas filled with water for aquatic species. Others contained pure methane or existed in near vacuum. Chin walked through the main entrance. His footsteps echoed in the vast chamber. Thousands of seats rose in concentric circles around a central platform. Above, holographic displays would translate every word into 900 languages simultaneously. Below, security systems monitor for weapons or hostile intentions. The first delegates were already arriving. Chin recognized Ambassador Thex of the Confederation. They had worked together on the Outer Rim Defense Initiative 5 years ago. Thex's 3 eyes met Chin's gaze for a moment, then looked away quickly. The message was clear. Old friendships meant nothing today. More delegates filed in. The reptilian Seth, the crystalline Lumini, the gas cloud ethereals who existed in containment fields, the insectoid hive minds whose collective consciousness filled entire sections, species whose names Chun had memorized during his 20 years of diplomatic service. High Arbiter Calum took his position at the supreme podium. His species, the eldest, claimed to be the first civilization to achieve spaceflight. Their longevity gave them perspective that spanned millennia. Calum's silver skin reflected the chamber lights as he activated the proceedings. This assembly is convened to address Resolution 3621, Calum announced. His voice carried through translation systems to every delegate. The complete severance of the human species from all galactic institutions, territories, and privileges. Chin moved to the designated human platform. It stood isolated, separated from all other delegations by 50 meters of empty space. The symbolism was obvious. Humanity already stood alone. Calum continued reading the formal charges. The human species has demonstrated patterns of behavior incompatible with galactic civilization. First, excessive territorial expansion. In merely 2 centuries since achieving faster-than-light travel, humans have claimed 400 star systems. This exceeds the expansion rate of any species in recorded history. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Chin remained silent. The charge was technically accurate. Humanity had spread across space with remarkable speed, but they had not displaced any existing civilizations. Every system they claimed had been empty. Second, Calum said, refusal to comply with the reproduction accords. Despite repeated warnings, humanity continues unrestricted population growth. Earth alone now holds 12 billion individuals. Colonial worlds add another 8 billion. This violates protocols established to prevent resource depletion. More murmurs, louder this time. Chin knew this charge upset many species. The reproduction accords required permits for offspring. Most civilizations had accepted this limitation centuries ago. Humanity had refused from the beginning. Third, development of prohibited weapons technology. Human military research has produced fusion warheads, antimatter missiles, biological agents, and kinetic bombardment systems. These weapons exceed defensive requirements and threaten galactic security. The accusations continued. Aggressive trade practices, cultural contamination, refusing to share certain technologies, disrespecting ancient territorial claims. The list seemed endless. Finally, Calum gestured toward Chun. Ambassador Chun, you may present humanity's defense. Chun stepped forward. 900 species watched him. Billions more observed through quantum broadcasts. Everything he said would be analyzed, debated, and remembered. Honored delegates, Chun began, I will not deny the charges. Humans do expand rapidly. We do have large populations. We do possess powerful weapons. But I will provide context. He activated his own holographic display. Images appeared above the assembly floor. 8 years ago, the Scourge attacked the Outer Rim. 40 civilizations called for help. The assembly debated for 3 months while colonies burned. Humanity responded in 3 days. Our fleet held the line until Galactic forces finally arrived. 2,000 human soldiers died protecting species that now vote to exile us. Some delegates shifted uncomfortably. The Scourge incident remained a sensitive topic. 5 years ago, the Crimson Plague devastated the Verdant Cluster. Human medical teams arrived within a week. We shared our research freely. We asked no payment. 17 billion lives were saved. The cure came from human laboratories that you now call dangerous. Chin changed the display. 3 years ago, the Pirate Confederacy controlled 70 trade routes. They raided merchant vessels from dozens of species. The Assembly passed 14 resolutions condemning their actions. Humanity sent warships. We cleared the pirates in 6 months. Our prohibited weapons made that possible. He turned to face Calum directly. You call us aggressive. We call it protective. You call our weapons dangerous. We call them necessary. The galaxy is not peaceful. It never has been. Someone must be willing to fight the threats everyone else fears. Delegate Vorith of the military coalition rose. His forearms spread wide in a gesture of disdain. Ambassador Chin speaks of humanity's contributions, but ignores their true nature. Humans are warriors. They fight among themselves constantly. Their history is written in blood. Earth has seen 10,000 wars. How can we trust such violent beings in civilized space? Chin met Vorith's gaze calmly. You are correct. Humans do have a violent history. We fought terrible wars on our homeworld. We learned hard lessons. That experience taught us something other species have forgotten. Sometimes violence is necessary. Sometimes peace must be defended with strength. Senator Lyrics from the Commerce Alliance spoke next. Human expansion threatens established trade networks. They claim resources we need. They ignore our historical territorial rights. Economic stability requires predictable partners. Humanity is unpredictable. Unpredictable because we refuse to follow failing systems. Chin responded. Your trade networks are controlled by monopolies. Your territorial claims are based on ancient maps that ignore current reality. We bring competition and honesty. If that threatens your profits, perhaps your system needs threatening. The debate continued for hours. Delegates spoke in favor of exile. A few defended humanity. The Quantum Collective mentioned human assistance during their dimensional crisis. The hive mind acknowledged human agricultural aid. The free colonies praised human defense against raiders. But these voices were few. Most species had decided before arriving. Fear outweighed gratitude. Uncertainty outweighed appreciation. Calum finally called for the vote. All delegates will now register their decision. Remember, this vote requires a simple majority. The consequences will be permanent and binding. The holographic displays showed each species' name as they voted. Red for exile, blue for acceptance, gray for abstention. The Confederation voted red. The military coalition voted red. The Commerce Alliance voted red. The pattern continued relentlessly. Red after red after red. Chun watched the tally grow. He felt no surprise, only sadness. Humanity had tried to be good neighbors. They had fought to protect others. They had shared knowledge and resources. Apparently, that was not enough. A few blue votes appeared. The Free Colonies, the Quantum Collective, the Crystal Singers, species that remembered human help, but they were vastly outnumbered. The final count appeared. 762 species voted for exile. 91 voted against. 47 abstained. Calum announced the result with formal gravity. Resolution 3621 is approved. The human species is hereby severed from galactic civilization. All treaties are nullified. All trade agreements are canceled. All communication channels will be closed. All hyperspace beacons leading to human territory will be deactivated within 48 standard hours. The assembly erupted in mixed reactions. Some delegates cheered. Others looked troubled. A few appeared genuinely sad. Chun stood quietly for a moment. He had prepared for this outcome. Earth's leadership had given him specific instructions for this moment. He walked back to the center platform. The noise gradually died as delegates realized he wanted to speak again. The people of Earth acknowledged this decision. Chin said, "Clearly, we accept your exile. We will withdraw from all galactic territories. We will terminate all trade relationships. We will disconnect from your communication networks." He paused, letting the words sink in. Then his tone changed. Something in his voice made several delegates lean forward nervously. "But I want you to remember something important. You chose this path. We offered friendship. We offered protection. We offered cooperation. You decided you did not want any of those things." Chen looked around the chamber slowly, making eye contact with as many delegates as possible. "Humanity will remember who stood with us today. We will remember who stood against us. When we meet again, this vote will not be forgotten." Calum's silver face showed irritation. "There will be no future meetings. This exile is permanent. Humanity will have no further contact with galactic civilization." Chin smiled, but the expression held no warmth. "High Arbiter, you have seen humanity at our most restrained. Following your rules, respecting your limits, operating within your systems. You have never seen what we become when those restrictions are removed." He gathered his documents and turned toward the exit. At the doorway, he stopped and looked back one final time. "You think you have solved a problem today. You believe removing humanity makes the galaxy safer. But you have made a critical mistake. You have given us a reason to stop pretending. You have given us permission to become what we truly are." Chen's voice dropped to something cold and dangerous. "When we return, we will not be asking for a seat at your table. We will be building our own table, and you will be asking for chairs." With that, he left the assembly hall. Behind him, the delegates sat in uncomfortable silence. Many felt uneasy about what they had just done. A few wondered if exile might create a larger problem than it solved. But the vote was final. Humanity was exiled. The galaxy could return to its comfortable, predictable existence. They had no idea what was coming. Chin boarded his ship and sent a single encrypted message to Earth. The message contained only 2 words: "Begin preparations." 3 years later, the galaxy would learn what those preparations meant: the silent revolution. 3 years had passed since the vote. The galaxy had settled into a comfortable rhythm. Trade flowed smoothly between the allied species. The assembly met regularly to discuss minor disputes and economic policies. Without humanity's unpredictable presence, everything seemed calmer, more manageable. High Arbiter Calum often spoke proudly of the decision. "We chose wisdom over sentiment," he told younger diplomats. "The galaxy is safer now, more peaceful. The exile was necessary." Most species agreed. The humans had been too aggressive, too militaristic, too different. Their absence made galactic civilization easier to manage. The dangerous warriors were gone. But strange reports began arriving from the frontier regions. Captain Rel commanded a survey vessel for the scientific consortium. His ship, the Discovery Path, specialized in mapping unexplored space. They had been charting systems near what used to be human territory. "Captain, the sensors are malfunctioning again," his science officer reported during a routine scan. "The entire sector where human colonies existed shows nothing. Not empty space. Just nothing." Rel studied the readings with growing concern. This was the 5th consecutive day of identical results. Run complete diagnostics. Check every system twice. The science officer worked for an hour before reporting back. "Sir, all equipment functions perfectly. We tested against known stellar objects. Everything calibrates correctly, but when we point sensors toward human space, we get 0 returns. It is as if that entire region has been erased from the universe." Rel made a decision. "Set course for the nearest human colony world. We will investigate directly." The Discovery Path traveled for 2 days toward New Terra, once a thriving human settlement of 3 million people. As they approached, the sensor anomalies grew worse. Navigation became difficult. Communication systems experienced strange interference. Then, at exactly 10 light minutes from New Terra, everything stopped working. The ship's engines shut down. Life support switched to backup power. Sensors went completely dark. The crew sat in emergency lighting, struggling to understand what had happened. "Captain," the engineer called from below decks. "I cannot explain this. Every system shows no damage, no malfunction. They simply will not activate." Rel tried the communication panel. Dead. He tried manual controls. Nothing responded. The ship drifted in space, completely helpless. After 6 hours of drifting, the system suddenly restarted. All at once, as if a switch had been thrown. Engines hummed back to life. Sensors displayed normal readings. Communication systems functioned perfectly. But New Terra was gone. Where a thriving colony world should have existed, their sensors showed only empty space. No planet, no orbital stations, no debris, nothing. Rel ordered an immediate retreat. As soon as they crossed back beyond the 10 light-minute threshold, everything remained normal. Whatever had disabled their ship did not follow them. Send a priority message to the scientific consortium. Rel ordered. Something extremely unusual is happening in former human territory. Recommend all vessels avoid the area until we understand more. The Discovery path was not alone in experiencing strange events. Within weeks, dozens of ships reported similar incidents. Some lost sensor capability near human space. Others experienced total systems failure. 3 vessels vanished completely without any distress signal. The Assembly convened an emergency session to discuss the situation. "We must investigate," Delegate Vorth insisted. "Perhaps the humans left some kind of defensive system active. Automated weapons protecting abandoned territory." Senator Lyrics disagreed. "More likely their infrastructure is decaying. Failing technology causing sensor interference and navigation hazards. We should mark the region as hazardous and avoid it." But High Arbiter Calum had a different concern. "Has anyone received any communication from humanity? Any message explaining these phenomena?" The chamber fell silent. No one had heard from humans since the Exile vote. Not a single transmission. Not one diplomatic contact. Not even a merchant ship trying to trade illegally. It was as if humanity had simply vanished. Ambassador Thex spoke quietly. "In my experience, humans do not vanish. They adapt. They plan. They prepare. This silence worries me more than anything they might say." Inside human space, the reality was far different from what the galaxy imagined. President Sarah Okonkwo stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, the massive orbital platform above Earth. Below her, the homeworld gleamed with lights from a dozen megacities. Around her, holographic displays showed the progress of hundreds of ongoing projects. Status report, she commanded. Admiral Marcus Torres appeared via quantum link. His image showed him standing on the bridge of humanity's newest flagship. "The fleet is complete, Madam President. 300 vessels of the Phoenix class. Each one incorporates all our new technologies. They are ready for deployment." Dr. Rachel Kim reported next. "The dimensional research is finalized. We can now fold entire star systems out of normal space. To outside observers, they simply do not exist. All human colonies are now protected behind dimensional barriers." Chief Engineer David Park added his update. "The new FTL drive works perfectly. We have achieved stable instant transfer across 20,000 light-years. We no longer need the Galactic hyperspace network. We have our own transportation system." Okonkwo nodded with satisfaction. 3 years ago, the galaxy had thrown humanity out. They thought Exile would contain the human problem. They had no idea what they had actually done. The Exile had unified humanity completely. Every nation on Earth put aside their differences. Every corporation stopped competing and started cooperating. Every scientific institution shared their research freely. Every military force combined into a single command structure. Without the restrictions imposed by galactic law, human research had exploded forward. Technologies that aliens considered impossible became reality. Problems that seemed unsolvable were solved. What about Project Ascension? Okonkwo asked. Dr. Kim smiled. We have successfully integrated stellar manipulation, planetary engineering, dimensional folding, and quantum communication into one comprehensive system. We can now control stars like light switches. We can move planets like chess pieces. We can hide entire civilizations in pocket dimensions. We can communicate instantly across any distance. Admiral Torres added, Our reconnaissance phase is complete. We have mapped every major alien civilization. We know their military capabilities, their economic systems, their political structures. We have done this without being detected once. Okonkwo looked at the holographic display, showing the entire galaxy. Red dots marked human territory, now completely hidden behind dimensional barriers. Blue dots showed alien civilizations, unaware of what was happening in the space they thought was abandoned. The galaxy voted to exile us because they feared human aggression, she said quietly. They were afraid of what we might become if left unchecked. They were right to be afraid. But exile did not stop us. It freed us. She turned to face her advisors. For 3 years, we have worked in secret. We have achieved technological superiority in every field. We have built a fleet that can travel anywhere without using their hyperspace beacons. We have developed abilities they consider impossible. Okonkwo gestured toward the star map. The question now is simple. Do we remain hidden or do we reveal ourselves? The debate had raged for months among human leadership. Some argued for continued isolation. Why interact with species that had rejected them? Others wanted immediate confrontation, make the aliens pay for their decision. But Okonkwo had a different vision. We do not attack. We do not seek revenge. Instead, we demonstrate. We show them what humanity has become. We establish new rules for this galaxy. Rules written by humans for humans, enforced by human technology. Admiral Torres understood immediately. Operation Revelation. We reveal our capabilities in ways that cannot be ignored or misunderstood. We do not ask for a seat at their table. We build our own table and invite them to join us. Exactly, Okonkwo confirmed. Begin deployment. Every species that voted for our exile will receive a personal demonstration of human advancement. Nothing violent, nothing aggressive, just clear proof that humanity has evolved beyond their control. The orders went out across human space. 300 warships prepared for departure. Thousands of scientists readied their equipment. Millions of personnel took their positions for the largest coordinated operation in human history. Captain Elena Vasquez commanded the Phoenix Dawn, one of the new flagship vessels. Her ship could fold space around itself, allowing instant travel to any point in the galaxy. Its hull was constructed from materials that had not existed before the exile. Its weapons could target objects from 50,000 light-years away with perfect accuracy. But weapons were not the point of this mission. The Phoenix Dawn carried different cargo, demonstration equipment, technology that would prove humanity's advancement beyond any doubt. All ships report ready, her operations officer announced. Vasquez activated the fleet-wide channel. This is Phoenix Dawn to all vessels. Execute Operation Revelation on my mark. Remember, we are not attacking. We are demonstrating. Show them what humanity has achieved. Show them that exile was the greatest mistake they ever made. She paused for dramatic effect. Mark. 300 ships vanished from human space. They reappeared simultaneously in orbit around the homeworlds of every species that had voted for human exile. The galaxy was about to receive a wake-up call. High Arbiter Calum was reviewing trade statistics when his assistant burst into the office. Sir, we have a massive security situation. Something has appeared in orbit around our homeworld. Calum rushed to the observation platform. Above his planet hung an enormous vessel. It was sleek and predatory, unlike anything in the Galactic database. As he watched, the ship began broadcasting on all frequencies. Commander Chen's face appeared on every screen throughout the eldest homeworld, but he was no longer wearing diplomatic robes. He wore a military uniform with insignia Calum did not recognize. Greetings, High Arbiter, Chen said with a cold smile. The The human species wishes to inform you that your star is now under new management. Please consider this a demonstration of our current capabilities. Calum felt his silver skin turn cold. This is impossible. You cannot control a star. No species has such technology. We did not have such technology 3 years ago. Chen agreed. But Exile has been educational. When you forced us to stop following your rules about acceptable research, we made remarkable progress. Behind Chun, displays showed human officers working at stations filled with incomprehensible technology. Your exile has ended, High Arbiter, not because we asked permission to return, but because we decided to establish new management for galactic civilization. Calum's voice shook. This is an act of war. The combined forces of the galaxy will drive you out. Chen's expression did not change. High Arbiter, please go outside and look at your son. Then we will discuss who has the capability to drive whom out. The transmission ended. Calum rushed to the planetary observatory. Scientists there were already in a panic. Sir, our star is changing, the chief astronomer reported. Solar output has decreased by exactly 15% in the past 20 minutes. This should be impossible. Stars do not change that rapidly. Calum watched through the telescope as humanity demonstrated their power. His species' sun, which had burned steadily for 6 billion years, now dimmed and brightened in a precise pattern. On, off, like a light switch being toggled by an unseen hand. The message was clear. Humanity could control stars. They could darken the sun or make it burn brighter. They held the power of life and death over entire civilizations. Similar demonstrations occurred across the galaxy. In the Confederation, humans created artificial gravity wells that blocked major trade routes. In the Commerce Alliance, they took control of communication networks. In the military coalition, they disabled weapon systems on every warship simultaneously. None of it was violent. No one was hurt, but the message was undeniable. Humanity had achieved technological dominance over every aspect of galactic civilization. President Okonkwo addressed the galaxy from Unity Station. Her message was broadcast through the very communication systems humanity had just taken control of. People of the galaxy, she began. 3 years ago, you voted to exile humanity. You feared our aggression, our weapons, our rapid expansion. You believed isolation would protect you from the human threat. Her image appeared on screens throughout 900 civilizations. You were wrong. Exile did not contain us. It freed us. For 3 years, we have worked without your restrictions. We have achieved breakthroughs you consider impossible. We have become something you never imagined. Okonkwo's tone remained calm but firm. The galaxy now operates under new rules. Human rules. You may continue to govern your internal affairs as you wish. But galactic policy, trade routes, communication systems, and territorial disputes will now be administered by humanity. The response from the galaxy was immediate and divided. Some species demanded war. Others called for negotiation. A few quietly admitted they might have made a mistake 3 years ago. But everyone understood the fundamental truth. The balance of power had shifted. Humanity was no longer the aggressive newcomer species that needed to be controlled. They were now the dominant force in galactic civilization, and they had not forgotten who voted to exile them. If you love this incredible story of human resilience and innovation, smash that subscribe button. Hit like if you want to see more HFY content. Share this video with everyone who loves epic sci-fi. Comment below, what should humanity do next? Should they show mercy or establish dominance? Let us know your thoughts.